cross is the first step of the CFOP method, which is the most used speed solving method by speed cubers. Generally, cross takes up the shortest amount of time in a CFOP solve compared to F2L, OLL, and PRL. But there are always some ways to improve your cross and get rid of bad habits. Today, I will be giving you 5 tips to improve your cross as well as some cross example solutions. Oh yeah, by the way, if you solve your cross on the top instead of solving it on the bottom, well, don't. Not only will solving it on the bottom make finger tricks easier, but it will also help to avoid doing an X2 rotation when transitioning between cross and F2L. Double insert. So what double insert means is solving 2 cross pieces at once, not just inserting them one piece at a time. Let's take a look at this orange, white, and green white edge. We could first just solve this orange one, then we can solve this green one. But instead of doing that, what we can do is that we can solve both of them at the same time. This can be done by placing a flipped edge over an edge that can be inserted in one move. As you insert this edge will be able to go into position to be inserted in one move. You can get creative with this tip and even solve pieces into the back. You can even do a chain that looks something like this. Insert this, then insert these two. Align last. Another great technique is where you align the cross after you have all the pieces in place. You don't necessarily have to align the cross as your last step, but the basis of this technique centers around being able to solve pieces in relation to each other before aligning everything. For example, in this case, we can see that these 2 pieces require a D2 to solve. Using the double insert technique, we can insert both of these 2 pieces into the right place. While these may not match up with their centers, they are solved in relation to all the other pieces, such that when you do a D2 at the end, you can solve all of them at the same time. In a case where one cross edge is not in the right spot, you can actually align the cross such that this piece is over the slot where it needs to go, solve that piece, and then realign the cross. You don't have to solve all of the pieces in relation to one another. In this case, this piece is already where it needs to go, so you can do a D2, then solve that piece. This technique means that you do not have to align or solve each piece individually in the right spot, and instead you can insert cross pieces in relation to one another, then align the cross to solve everything. For example, in this case, we can see that after blue is red. So after blue, red should be inserted here, and we can insert red in here like that. And after blue should be orange, so we can insert orange into this space. So now you can see B, O, G, R, B, O, G, R. So they might not match up with the centers, but you can just align the cross and they will all be solved. Inspecting your cross. This tip helps you to reduce your pauses, which is equally as important as being efficient. It is pretty easy to inspect out your entire cross during inspection, and if you do so, you're basically getting a head start to your solve. However, if you only inspect one piece, or even just half your cross, you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage before the solve even starts. Inspecting cross is much easier if you implement other techniques such as aligning cross last or double insertions, as these will reduce your move count, making it easier to plan out your entire cross during inspection. In this case, I can see that red and orange are already solved in relation to one another. Red is opposite from orange. And here we have this blue piece, and we can see that after red, it's blue. So this blue piece can be inserted after red. Finally, for this green piece, after we solve this and align the cross, we can just do an F2 to solve this last piece. So once planning out your cross in inspection, you can execute the cross without any pauses. A great way to practice this is planning out your cross, then closing your eyes, then executing your cross as fast as possible with no pauses. It's okay if you take over 15 seconds in the beginning, but after a while you should be able to plan out your cross in under 15 seconds. Rotations, regrips, and finger tricks. So on the topic of rotation, sometimes you have to decide between doing an F or a B or B prime move, or just doing a rotation to solve it. In certain cases, it will make more sense to rotate and solve that piece. But if your fingers happen to be in the right spot for F or B move without a regrip, then you should not rotate. For example, if you had just done an R prime move, an F move would be simple as your finger is in the right position to do an F move. Another example is if you just do an R move, your finger is actually in the right position to do a B move, and you don't have to rotate to solve that piece. As for finger tricks, it definitely helps to at least know D, D prime, and D2. F, and F prime for crosses. If you want to watch my in-depth finger tricks tutorial, I will link that in the description below. Solving your last cross piece. There are many different ways to solve your last cross piece when all the other pieces are solved. Some way more efficient than others. One way to insert your last cross piece is to move the cross such that the empty slot is right below where your last piece is. Then you can just put your last piece into the empty slot and realign the cross. Another way is to take your cross piece out, then just align it over its center, then insert it. This is the slow way and probably what most beginners do, as it makes the most sense. Finally, you can use the double insert technique and solve it in a slightly more creative way by connecting the cross piece to its center, solve it, then putting back this cross piece. Cross example solutions. Alright, now time for some example solves. With white top and green front, you can follow this scramble and feel free to follow along. I am color neutral, but most people aren't, so I'll be doing all white crosses. For the first scramble, I can see that red and green are already in the right position, and I can just do F2 and R2 to insert them. And then for this orange piece, after I do the R2 to solve the green piece, this will actually go over its center here, and I can just solve it like that. As for this blue piece, I can do an F, then solve this blue piece, then do another F to solve this piece. So solving that will look something like this. Solving the green and the orange at the same time like this, using the double insert method. Then again using the double insert, I can solve the red and blue piece. For the second scramble, we can see that the blue requires a D2 to solve. The orange is in the right spot to be inserted like that. And then we have the green and red in the top layer. So how I would solve this cross is first doing a D move, then solving the green in relation to the blue piece, then aligning the cross, solving this piece, then solving this piece. For the second scramble, we can see that orange requires a D to solve. We have green, which can be inserted right away, red in the top layer, and we have blue. How I would solve this would be first by solving the orange piece. Then I would move the red piece over its slot, solve the green and red piece. Finally, I would solve the blue piece by moving the empty slot over to where the blue piece needs to go, like this. For this next scramble, we can see that orange is already solved. Green requires a L2 to solve. Then we have blue and red in the top layer. So how I would solve this would actually be using the double insert method for the red and blue and just solving this normally. So I would start off with B2, U prime, then double inserting these two like this. So I hope this video was useful and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.